It's a truism that there's no bad idea that doesn't have its day. The latest is the plan to turn over to Ukraine Russian assets the Western powers froze in the aftermath of the start of Russia's so-called special military operations. The assets include Russian central bank foreign currency reserves worth about $300 billion and assets owned by sanctioned Russians worth about $58 billion. Polish and Baltic state leaders are demanding that frozen assets be turned over to Ukraine immediately. In February, the European Council vowed to use frozen Russian assets for Ukraine's reconstruction, quote, in accordance with EU and international law. In the U.S., Attorney General Merrick Garland has just authorized the transfer for use in Ukraine of Russian businessman Konstantin Malofeyev's seized assets. Needless to say, the self-appointed guardians of the rules-based order have no right to seize property that belongs to others, much less to disburse it according to their whims. Article 17 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights states, quote, no one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his property. However, the Western powers have been engaged in this seizure and disbursal business for some time. In the U.S., Congress passed a law allowing courts to turn over frozen Iranian assets to anyone deemed to have been the victim of an alleged Iranian terrorist attack. Recently, the U.S. and the U.K. froze Venezuela's assets, including its gold, claiming that they belong not to the legally constituted government of Nicolas Maduro, but to self-appointed President Juan Guaido, whom they deemed to be the country's legitimate ruler. The West had little success in either case. The World Court recently ruled that the U.S. needed to pay compensation to Iranian companies whose assets it had seized. As for Guaido, his so-called government dissolved itself and he now resides in Florida. But back to Russia. Let's recall public assets such as foreign currency reserve belong exclusively to a nation-state. Any attempt by one state to help itself to the assets of another is effectively an act of war. As for private property, that can be turned over only after a court of law has established that one party committed a crime or inflicted damages against another party. No proper court of law anywhere has determined that the Russian government or any individual Russian is culpable for anything in Ukraine. UN General Assembly resolutions don't count, nor do arrest warrants issued by the International Criminal Court, since Russia doesn't recognize its jurisdiction.